Welcome all, Edmund24 here, and this is the third video I've recorded in a row tonight. I'm catching up. I'm trying to catch up. I got fall behind because of Sandy. I'm trying to catch up. So third video in a row. I finished doing my issue 7 review. What was the last video I did? The Curatus review, chapter 18, Enemy Who Are Is Who. I did those 2 videos. And finally, hopefully this is the last video I'll do tonight. I might do a 4th. I'm kind of sick of the 4th, but I'm doing this video. This video is a continuation of my previous segments, as far as the video series, Animary Literary Elements. This one is Literary Elements setting. Now, of all the literary elements that exist in the kind of writing vernacular and different schemas of different writing styles, setting is, I think, the least critical, at least in the concepts of a written book, because the purpose of setting is to kind of emphasize and set the stage for whatever event or the significance of an event that you're trying to make. But in writing, you don't have to worry about setting because it's printed. But setting in contemporary media, I don't think it's as important as all the other things, but it definitely helps, at least when you're doing franchise building. What makes a good franchise, what turns a series into a franchise, is the fact that there's comprehensive world building, aka building up the setting. Usually the world in which whatever narrative that you have establishes its rules, its logic. Certain things can happen, certain things can't. This is usually done in manga. Naruto does this with the concept of the 4 shinobi nations and the concept of chakra and the tailed beast and the Kages and the Akatsuki and the missing ninja, and that's even though it's not really technic setting, I consider that world building, so I'm going to call it setting. Bleach does this also with spiritual pressure, Caserete, Zanpakuto, Shikai Bankai, Shinigami, Quincy, Arankai, Vizard, just the host, Fullbring, like that stuff. One Piece does this also with the Devil Fruits, the Marines, the Pirates, the Shishibukai, the concept of the islands and the different climates of the islands, the Poneglyphs and Rio Poneglyph, the One Piece, the Pirate King title. This is all comprehensive world building. These are just the big 3 that I'm using just to illustrate a point, but you get the idea of what setting does. It sets up a franchise and it sets up the logic of your story. And depending on how you write this, and I don't think this is hard to do, but it's not done because people usually don't have that kind of vision. Usually they think their works will be wrapped up in usually a few years. They don't expand the universes and don't build it up as much as they could have if they had chose to. But I've seen series do this very well, particularly with American kind of shows. Manga does setting building and complex world building more elaborately than American television, at least the general consensus. But they don't build franchises; they just build kind of long-running successful series, which I don't think a franchise. Star Wars, which I actually intend to do a trilogy pitch. I don't think this will be the last year because I need to kind of refresh myself with the expanded universe and find out what I'm exactly going to say and what I think should happen. But Star Wars does this very well. Star Trek kind of pick and chooses this really. I'm less familiar with Star Trek than I am with Star Wars, but it does this. Marvel, DC, those 2 definitely complex setting and world building and establishing the logic. And the beauty of at least American comics is that they have a liberty that a lot of Japanese manga do not have. They are not bound by continuity by any means. And the reason why they're not is because they basically say this is a spin-off. They've been doing this for a while. I mean, Spider-Man is what, almost 50 years old? Well, the first one was in the 60s. So we're way past 50 years. 40, 50 years, maybe like 45. But Spider-Man has had offshoots to the extreme. You have every possible offshoot of Spider-Man in other series, but I'm choosing Spider-Man because that's my favorite superhero. Yeah, you have the 616 universe. You have the Ultimate universe. You have Noir. You have 2099. You have the manga universe that they tried to do. Spider-Man actually tried to do a manga shoot off. And they have the spin-offs with like Spider Girl. They have the Marvel Universe 2. So yeah, they did Spider Girl, Marvel Universe 2. They've done Scarlet Spider. They've done Venom series. Did they do a Carnage series? I don't think they did. But they actually did a Venom series with Agent Venom, which I actually thought aesthetically was pretty cool. But you get the idea. Same thing with DC. I'm not as familiar with DC as I am with Marvel. Just because I think that like at a stage people just kind of outgrow DC. Usually about 13 or 14, they kind of just outgrow DC. But this is done extensively, and American, at least like major comics, are not bound by continuity by any means. But the reason why setting is important is if you intend to build a franchise, you need to have complex story building. Avatar is a great example of what you do. The beauty of Avatar, and this is, I know I'm kind of jumping off topic from the main topic of the studio, and I'll try and get back to it, but I'm going to digress to Avatar. What Avatar did is that its logic initially was set up in such a way that it allows for sequels. The whole concept of reincarnation and the whole concept, first thing about Avatar, I'm glad they did not overcomplicate the logic of the story. They didn't do this whole once every 1,000 years a being is born and has the ability to, no, they don't do that. It wasn't necessary. All they have to say is there is an Avatar, there has always been an Avatar. When he's born, masters the elements, lives his life, eventually dies, new Avatar is born. You don't need to complicate your story. You don't need to do the whole 1,000-year and that whole 1,000 years ancient thing gets all like downplayed and like gets cliche and it becomes irrelevant like 2 episodes in. Like in all honesty, I'm not even like after like a season like you have like the dark evil something like along the lines of the dark evil chosen one, which basically has the same powers as you, and then they start throwing in more. You don't need to. It's unnecessary. You really don't need to. But the logic of Avatar was set up that once the resolution of the whole 100-year war thing was established, and that was done, and guys, all you have to say, all that was required for a sequel of Avatar is to say, okay, Aang is master of the elements. He's a fully realized Avatar. He lived this life. He's dead. New Avatar's born. That's it. You don't need to do anything more than that. That's what they did. They just said, Aang is unfortunately dead. New conflict arises. New problems in a different generation. Korra is born. Deal with it. That's the sequel. That is all you have to do. That's all that's necessary. And what a lot of series fail to do, and I'm jumping back into the topic of the video, upsetting, is that when they're not trying to build the logic of their story, and in such a way that it's finaglable and you can work with it and you can change it and you can do offshoots that don't mess up the logic of the story too much, you get thrown into a plot trap, and Udo Akari coined this term. I'm subscribing to him, so I'm quoting him. I doubt he'll see this, but plot trap. You throw yourself into a plot trap, and it destroys your series and destroys any possibilities of a future series. And the beauty of setting is that when you're trying to illustrate a point, and particularly when you're doing stuff like something greater than yourself, particularly when you're dealing with something supernatural like God, or something along those lines, or some kind of evil spirit, setting plays into that. When you're trying to illustrate something that's creepy, you don't need to say words, at least in contemporary kind of writing. You don't need to say anything. Just show a creepy environment. Play some eerie music, set the tone, have me really quiet, and you can play Beethoven kind of like doom and gloom music kind of music that kind of kind of the Renaissance kind of era kind of music style, and you play it in with like some creepy dark kind of overshadow figure, and you set the setting, you set the mood, the lights go off, and when you're trying to do enlightenment, all you have to do is show kind of maybe like the ending of a rainstorm and then the clear sky and you have the sunlight shining on the individual, signifying enlightenment. Setting like that is very, I won't say crucial, but it helps. Especially when you want to do in-depth characterization in a relatively quick amount of time, and you want to get a point across, setting can let you do that. Like I said before, if you want to show a person having enlightenment, you don't need to sit there and hold the hand of the reader saying that this person's become enlightened or is different somehow. No. All you have to do is throw in kind of a scenery that signifies some kind of enlightenment or epiphany or realization and play the correct music and we get it. That's all you have to do. So setting is crucial if you want to do franchise building, if you want to show a quick characterization of development and plot without the necessity of long exposition. And another thing setting can be very useful in doing is that setting can be used to illustrate a humanistic value. I mean this. If you show suffering and you show a destroyed village, that sends home the moral message of the suffering of humanity. That can be used in such a way, and usually contemporary media and writing doesn't really do this, but occasionally they'll do it in if they want to do kind of social commentary, and I enjoy social commentary, and particularly in fiction, because you feel like the author isn't lazy. Honestly, that's the reason I love social commentary, because it shows the author isn't lazy. It shows that one, it shows the author isn't lazy, and two, it shows the author that they don't think we're stupid. We're able to understand and grasp this concept. And through the use of setting, you can do quick characterization and development. You can do franchise building, and you can portray some kind of moral humanistic message. That's pretty much it. This has been EdBen24, signing off. Thank you. See ya. Bye.